Hey guys, sorry today is kind of weird, but we're going to go ahead and go over the information that we would have been talking about in class. First, I'm going to do this in two different parts, at least two, hopefully not three, but I'm going to do this in two different parts. The first one, I want to talk a little bit about testing, look at a few CASAS things, and talk about some strategies. And then in another video, I'll talk about the book that we're going to start. All right, so the first thing we're going to be doing today is looking at the CASAS. So all of you have taken the CASAS at some point, and it is the test that you're going to take that you took when you first started the class, and it is the test that you take periodically throughout the class. So I want to look a little bit at how we're going to be answering those questions. So now that you all are at the point where you're in level B or even level C, you get into longer readings. You get into questions that have a lot of information in them. And so I want to start talking about how do you do that in a timed test environment. So let's take a look at an example. We are going to be using Burlington English to talk about this. So those of you who have used it before, you're probably very familiar with it. Those of you who haven't, it is a program that we are going to be using to practice for the CASAS, and we're also going to be using it in class. But today we're going to look at it for a CASAS perspective. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Now, if we look over here, today we're looking at one. It is an employment application and it is completed, so it has lots of information in it. Now, when you are reading in a second language, it can be hard to store all of that information. So if you were reading this in your first language, it would be really easy for you to just read through it all, see all of the information, and hold on to it in your mind. But because this is in English, there's another level of difficulty as you are translating it or as you are trying to look at new vocabulary and things like that. So as you're taking a test, you have a time limit. You can't spend a ton of time reading through everything, making sure you understand every single piece of what you are reading. So what I want us to do is look at a way to focus your attention on the information that you need for the test. So the first thing we're going to look at is what order you're going to read things in. So when you're looking at the test that you're going to take, if you're looking at this question, there are three pieces to it. The first is the text. So we have the employment application. So we have the text, we have the question, and we have the answers. Now, when you think about taking a test, if you had this question, what is the first thing you would read? Would you read the text first? Would you read the question first? Or would you read the answers first? Okay, there might be different answers. So I think a lot of times we think, oh, I need to read the text first. I need to get all the information and then I can answer the questions. And that's how we do it if we're looking at, if we're doing reading comprehension, if you're reading a story and then answering questions about it. But taking a test is a little bit different because if you take all of your time reading all of this information, then you may not have time to get to the questions, or you may not have time to get to all of the questions on the test. And you're going to have a lot of information that you don't need. So the first thing I want you to read when we are getting into this is to read the questions first. So here, number 1 says, why did Roberto leave Italian Garden? So as you're reading this, you know you're looking for this specific information. You know you're looking for why he left Italian Garden. Then number 2 says, when can Roberto begin a new job? So you know you're going to be looking for this information also. Now we can look at the answers. So it's as you're taking a test, you know that one of these is going to be the correct answer. That is the beauty of tests. That is not true in the real world, but it is true on tests. So if we read number 1, why did Roberto leave Italian Garden? We know it is one of these 4 answers. A, he moved to Orlando. B, he wasn't making enough money. C, he wanted to work more hours. Or D, he found work at a bakery. So now you have an idea of what kind of information you can be looking for. Then the same thing with number 2. We read the question, when can Roberto begin a new job? A, as soon as possible. B, July 9th. C, April 9th. Or D, September 4th. So we know what information we're looking for, and we have an idea of what kind of information we should find. Now we go to the text. So the text is the last place you go. So when you're looking at this, why did he leave Italian Garden? So when we go over here and we look, we're going to find the section that it would be in. So we know it is talking about a job that he had because this is an employment application. And so we're going to look under work experience. Work experience is all of the jobs that he has had. So we take a look and we see the name of the employer. We have Ben's Cafe, we have Italian Garden, we have Maple Hill Bakery. So we can look at the one specific place that we know that we're looking for. We're looking for Italian Garden. So we look at Italian Garden, and that's this section here. And we look for why did he leave? We're looking for a reason. So under Italian Garden, we can see where it says reason for leaving. And there's our answer. It says low pay. Okay, so if we look at the answers, which of these means the same thing as low pay? Okay. So B, he wasn't making enough money. His pay, or the money he made, was too low. So we answered this question without reading the entire thing. You didn't have to spend all of that time reading all of this information. You're able to say, we're looking for a previous job. We can go under work experience. We find Italian Garden, and we find the answer. So instead of reading all of it and trying to find the information afterwards, you can just scan and find the section that you need and read that information. So let's look at number 2. Let's look at this again. Number 2, when can Roberto begin a new job? When can he begin a new job? So this might be something that's a little bit different from job applications in your home country or in other countries that you have worked in. But sometimes on an employment application, they will ask you, when can you begin, or when are you available? So that is usually going to be at the top. It's going to be some of the, if you are hiring someone, that is information that you need to know first. So it will be generally at the top of the employment application. So that is something that, looking for the information, we are going to look up here at the top. We see name, social security number, home phone, cell phone, address, position wanted, and then available from, available from. So this is something that you would need to know, that available from means the same thing as when you can begin a new job. So that is a vocabulary thing and a cultural thing. So now you know that information. If you ever see that on a job application, if it says available from, that means that this is the first day that you can work the new job. So let's look at this. It says 4/9. So it's important to remember that in American dates, the date is written out month and year, or sorry, month, day, year, and this one does not have a year, so it is month and day. So what is the 4th month? We have January, February, March, April. April is the 4th month, and then it is the 9th day of the month. So April 9th. Okay. I know in other countries, and maybe your home country is like this, where it goes month, or it goes day, month, year. But in America, we start with the month and then go to the day. So that is something to keep in mind. So we have April 9th as the first day that they are able to begin. Okay, so I know that this may seem strange to you. It may seem strange to read the questions first, but when you are going into the world, when you are reading in the normal world, you always are doing this. You always go and read something with an idea of what information you're looking for. If you were going to, for example, if you were going to your child's school, let me just show you. Let me just cut away from this for a second. So if you were going to your child's school and you wanted to get information about what your child is doing that year, or just get information specifically about what your child is going to learn, if you go to the school and you see a board that has information about all the different grades. So if you went to a school and you see this is 1st grade and it has all of their information. This is 2nd grade and it has all of their information. And then you have 3rd grade and it has all of their information. If your child is in 2nd grade, you are only going to read 2nd grade. You're not going to read 1st grade and 3rd grade and 2nd grade. You only need the information for your child. And if your child is in 2nd grade, you are only going to read 2nd grade. So as you're taking the test, as you're looking for this information, we're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing. If we look at these questions, we are looking for very specific information, and you don't need to read all of it. Especially if there is a type of chart or a schedule or something like this where it's an application, a lot of times you won't need all of the information in it. You'll just need to read what information the question is asking for, and then you can scan, find the right area, and find the answer. So that is going to help you as we move forward. First, it's going to help cut down on the time. It'll make it go a little faster. And it's going to help just in processing all the information. So if you are able to answer a few questions without reading all of it, then that's going to free up time and energy for you to get to the questions where you are going to have to read a little more. Sometimes we do have to read the whole thing. We can't just scan for answers. So this is one strategy, and the more that we do these questions, the more often we will do this, and the more comfortable you will get with it. So maybe you're already used to doing it, maybe you already do this, but especially as you get into higher levels and the readings get longer and there's more information, the more important it is that you start by reading the questions so that you know what information you're looking for, you know what you're reading for. Okay, so when we have class again on Thursday, we will do another practice question. We'll have probably one reading and then a couple of questions about that reading. So you'll have an opportunity to practice this again. All right, if you have any questions, just let me know and I will hopefully see you soon. I'm going to send you one more video that talks about the book. So this was our CASAS practice, and then we'll have a little bit of practice in the book. All right, guys, see you soon.